Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean. This is in the Mixer, episode number 4 of our One Season Wonder Save with Bayer Leverkusen. Now, full disclosure, I've recorded this episode a little bit in advance, and about 20 minutes ago, Australia and New Zealand were announced as the host of the 2023 Women's World Cup. So, I might be buzzing a little bit, I might be all over the shop, it is very late at night, but just the idea that we're going to have a World Cup in my hometown, about 20 minutes down the road, at any level is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm entirely buzzing to get stuck into some football content and getting this save on its way as well. We're not going to waste too much time. Let's jump straight in. We've got two massive games in this episode. So, as you guys can see, we are currently top of the table, only on goal difference, just one goal separating ourselves and Red Bull Leipzig. We're no longer undefeated. We have lost one game to Wolfsburg. I'll go through our results in a minute, but it's still very, very tight. You can see Cologne, for a moment, they were also top of the division. I think when we dropped that down to 4th, plus 25 goal difference for them is the best in the league. Dortmund aren't miles away either. Hoffenheim aren't miles away. And Bayern Munich have sacked their manager, and now they've got a new one. They are starting to pick up points quite quickly as well. You can see here from the Promises tab, there's quite a few different players that want to leave and either play more football or go out on loan. I don't know why that's happening. They are all players that aren't necessarily in our starting 11, but I don't know why they have these high expectations that they should be playing every week when we're doing so well in the league itself. As far as our results are concerned, we've had a relatively good run, a little bit of a spell of poor play in the middle here, but since that last episode where we beat Schalke and Bayern Munich 1-0, we beat Atalanta 4-0 in the Champions League, gave me that little glimmer of hope that we were maybe going to get out of the division itself, or get out of the group stage, I should say. Then we had a 0-0 draw with Mönchengladbach. It could have gone either way if I'm being completely honest. Usually the issue we have is that our forward line doesn't finish their chances well enough, but you can see the match ratings here aren't horrific. I just don't think I don't think we really got control in the midfield area, which is what eventually hurt us. But at the same time, Mönchengladbach didn't have a whole lot of highlights of their own anyway. We then suffered our first league defeat of the season, João Victor getting the go-ahead goal in the 9th minute for Wolfsburg. They did manage to hold on. We pummeled their goal, particularly in the second half, and just couldn't find an equaliser. I think we hit the crossbar in the 95th minute or something like that. But we've ridden our luck a couple of times throughout the course of the year. It's not a surprise that we were going to have a defeat at some point. We then went all out attack at Anfield to try and pick up some points to maybe sneak out of the group and fell to a 4-2 defeat. Liverpool, of course, very, very strong. And I think Shakhtar won their other game. Shakhtar and Atalanta drew in the other game, which meant we finished bottom of our Group H group. No further European football, but that's fine. It's given us an opportunity to focus on the Bundesliga, and we have it bounced back and gone on a good little run of form. A 0-0 draw against Werder Bremen followed in the days after, before a good 1-0 victory against Hoffenheim, who at the time were second in the division. We did this as 10 men. Angiers got sent off in the 28th minute. Fiat Arp still scored in the 54th, and we kept them at bay with 10 men for the entirety of the second half. A very good winning performance. We then had our winter break, where you can see these couple of friendly victories here against some Argentine clubs. We then beat Freiburg 2-0 to return to equal top of the division, and then last time out beat Hertha, our opening day opponent, 1-0. We've completed the double against them as we set ourselves up to play Borussia Dortmund, currently in 4th spot, and Red Bull Leipzig, currently in 2nd. If we can get 6 points in this episode, we're pretty much kind of maybe putting a little pinky finger on the Bundesliga title in terms of giving ourselves some space between us and the teams around us. Of course, when you reload a game, anything can happen. Form kind of goes out the window a little bit, but hopefully we can carry on in these two massive fixtures. We're going to jump forward now. We're going to have a look at the lineups for the game against Dortmund. So for us, pretty much a full-strength lineup to pick from. They've got Radicki, of course, in goal, Zagadou, Tapsoba, and Tar as the back three. They've been fantastic so far this season. Aranguiz returns from his suspension, which is very well timed. He'll play alongside Palacios at the base of midfield. Paulinho on the left wing, our leading assist maker for the season. Bailey on the right, arguably the best player in the squad. Kai Havertz at the 10, and Xerxes and Arp up top. It is an incredibly strong and an incredibly potential-filled Dortmund side. When we looked at the wonder kids at Leverkusen and the wonder kids at Dortmund, there wasn't that much between the two squads in terms of their future prospects. You see for them, they've got Berkey in goal, Hakimi and Guerrero as the two fullbacks. Hakimi, an absolute beast of a right wing-back if you're looking to try and pick your own up. It's tough to pry him away from Real Madrid. I think he usually does a season at Dortmund, then goes back to Madrid in most saves that I've seen. But just an absolute weapon. Wing-back on attack is his preferred role. Physically just a beast. Natural fitness and stamina of 17, 18 pace. Very impressive stuff from the Moroccan international. Of course, the big one, the one that I think everybody's picked up at one point or another, including myself, Jadon Sancho, just an absolute phenomenal winger. Can play on either side. His dribbling's fantastic. His touch, his technique are absolutely superb. Physical traits are wonderful. Still only 19 years of age. It feels like he's been around the game for 4 or 5 years at this point, but an absolute beast in this year's version of the game. He's going to play on the right-hand side for them. And then they're led up top by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Erling Haaland, 19-year-old Norwegian. You can see here, current ability 4.5 stars, 5-star potential. Like, that's just absolutely insane for a 19-year-old player. And he has been smashing me in so far this season. He's got 18 appearances and 11 goals in that period. So he is scoring just under a goal, or just over a goal every 2 games. We'll have to be at our best to keep him out. But I think we can do it. We did beat them 2-1 early on in the season. They did struggle in the early part of the year. I'm hopeful. I think they actually have a new manager now as well. I think Lucien Favre got sacked around November period, and they have been doing quite a bit better since then. We're going to assertively tell everyone this is a great opportunity to tell the pundits they've been right to back you up, because it just consistently works. It doesn't mean we have to pick something different if we're getting the same thing to work every single time out. And we will keep an eye on other results as well. Leipzig are playing Hoffenheim, a huge fixture to them. Hoffenheim have been very, very good this season. So a draw doesn't kill us, but if we can try and pick up 3 points, it does put a lot of pressure on the other sides around us and gives us additional distance to Dortmund down in 4th spot. First highlight of the game, it's a throw-in for Guerrero towards Haaland on the left-hand side. Just stand him up, boys. Don't do anything silly. Ball back across to Delaney at the base of midfield. Now Julian Brandt out to Sancho. This is where we have to be careful because that dribbling ability gets the byline and back stick Marco Rausch. I feel like that ball across has hurt us quite a bit. The one thing, like, this formation's been good and we are top of the division when we are probably overperforming. But one of the things that I think I need to be really conscious of and maybe tweak a little bit is the width of this back 3. Maybe just keep them a little bit further separate, our defensive shape a little bit wider so that we don't get caught, dragged to the ball or separated as much as we do in certain situations. Rausch is effectively wide open there, back post. We are going to use a get creative shout with about 10 minutes remaining in the half. We've got a deep free kick here, gone towards backstick. Hummels with the header from distance. It's a good effort, to be fair. 4th goal of the season for Mats Hummels. We'll check it out in 3 dimensions here. And the wheels are coming off a little bit, just a little bit. 37 minutes played. But at least we know at halftime what our team talk will be. Haaland was in the area too, but Hummels just powers beyond everyone and puts that well over the keeper who could do nothing about it. 2 minutes additional time to be added on at the end of the first half. It's not been the best performance from us. We're going to pull out the rocket. We're going to say aggressively. I expect to see a much better showing from you. Everyone's responded positively, which is great. We're also tactically going to go to our attacking structure, see if we can't push everyone on a little bit further and play a little bit more aggressively. You can see the front 2 really struggling. Arp and Xerxes not having any impact on Dortmund's backline so far. We might look at Kevin Volland after the hour mark. As things stand, Cologne winning their game would see them go above us as well. Aaron gives with a good ball in, Tar with the header, but Roman Berkey equal to it. First real highlight and shot on target that we've seen for ourselves. The highlight's continuing, which we're going to have to keep an eye on. Throw out to Hakimi, now Axel Witsel. Ball over the top for Haaland, who has gotten goal side. He's got 4 men around him. Thankfully, the close down was good. Everyone managed to get back and put off the shot from distance. Wide free kick from Rausch here. Set piece has been an issue so far. Witsel that time with the header just clips the crossbar on its way out for the goal kick. I think the keeper maybe had it covered. All right, we're through 59 minutes now. We're going to make those subs. Fiat Arp really struggling. Xerxes really struggling as well. I'm going to give Arp the benefit of the doubt. He has scored a couple in the last few weeks. We're going to bring Kevin Volland on to play alongside him. Zagadou also struggling a little bit against his parent club. Maybe we will make one more sub on the left wing. Bring on Moussa Diaby for Paulinho just on that side. Diaby's been good in the couple of performances he's had over the last month or so. Passionately, I'm going to say I've got faith in you. At least Volland's responded positively. And we're also going to use our good old faithful get creative shout with 30 minutes remaining. Deep free kick immediately for Dortmund. Ball forward now to Rausch. He's going to look for that switch. We have to be wary of it. Diaby does very well to come out and puts a long ball in behind Arp to chase. Can he find the finish 1v1? It's not a great effort, and then Volland can only follow up and push it out for the goal kick. We might switch back to, we'll see how this highlight goes actually, and then we might switch back to our positive mentality. I think we were getting more out of the game, statistically speaking, on positive, even though we were 2 goals down during that mentality. Ball in behind here for Rausch. This is a concern. He is goal side. Taps over, does very well to come across and put him off. We're going to go back to positive now, 20 minutes remaining. I'm also going to use Get Creative with 20 minutes to go. I just want to try and pull something back to look like we've at least put up a fight in this game. Into the last 10, let's make that last sub. Let's just go on match rating. Arp hasn't played well at all, but there isn't a tremendous amount I can do off the bench. We don't have a secondary striker on there. Leon Bailey down at 69% conditioning. That's not great. Maybe we'll bring on Bellarabi on that side just to try and get some fresh legs out there and a little bit more width with wingers on either side. We're going to hit play and we're going to just keep spamming it. We're going to hit Get Creative again, see if we can't make some sort of chance or pull back some sort of consolation goal before the game's over. 4 minutes of additional time to be added on here. And we're through that now. The referee calls full time. It's a good 2-0 victory for Dortmund. Just that 10-minute spell after 30 minutes is the difference today. 9 shots for them, 6 on target, 39% possession. For us, 10 shots, 4 on target, 61% of the ball. aggressively. Not happy with that result. It does see us drop down to third spot, I think, behind Leipzig and Cologne. Thankfully, we do have an opportunity to try and drag Leipzig back immediately, which does give us a little bit of an advantage. Leverkusen lose top spot. Mats Hummels gets the Man of the Match award. Massimiliano Allegri is the current manager of Dortmund. My assistant can do the post-match press conference because I cannot be bothered. Xerxes hasn't scored now in 15 hours of competitive football. I wasn't aware of that. And Vola now hasn't scored in 8 matches. Okay, so what we might do is for the game against... Xerxes is a wonderful trainer. Like he always gets like close to 10 on his weekly scores, but we might drop him just to get a bit of complacency out of the side. We'll go with Volland and Arp to start against Leipzig. Otherwise, it's pretty much an unchanged lineup. We might take Paulinho off to inverted winger. And let's just, for everyone that's going to start the next match, give them 1 day off training just to try and boost a little bit of their condition, given that we do have a full week but have had quite a few games in the last month or so. Magic of editing though, we'll jump forward and look at the 2 lineups against Leipzig now. Alright, just like that, we are a few days ahead. Now, we've got one issue, and that's that everybody seemingly wants to leave at the moment. I don't know what that's about. Pretty much anyone that's not in this starting 11 here is currently unhappy or upset about something. So you're going to have to keep that in mind if you're going to do your own Bayer Leverkusen save. You might have to rotate, even if you're in good form, which is just bonkers to me. It doesn't make any sense at all. Leipzig playing, interesting, a very similar shape to ours. They've got a back three of Upamecano, Konate, and Mukiele, all very good young defenders in the game. Klosterman's a good right wing back. Angelino, I think they've got on loan from Manchester City, a good left wing back option as well. Dani Olmo obviously was previously, before the transfer update, one of the best players that you could pick up from Dynamo Zagreb. Goes on to become an exceptional midfielder in the game, no matter where his career ends up taking him. And of course, the big man up top, Timo Werner. He scored the goal against us last time in a 1-1 draw. Just a very, very good pressing forward. I quite enjoy the pressing forward role in this year's version of the game. If we were doing like a long-term same for Leverkusen, he's definitely someone that I think I would eventually start going after. Just has really all the physical, mental, and technical traits that you could possibly need for that particular role. Just a very good player. We are going to aggressively say, or maybe passionately say, we have a chance to move to the top of the table here, and at least a few players have responded positively. Maybe dropping Xerxes not the best idea. Again, he was the best trainer throughout the course of the week. But I've got faith in Volland and Arp. Arp is our leading scorer with 7 goals, but they're all on pretty similar amounts this season. We're getting good contributions out of all of the strikers at the moment. First half is getting through to the 30-minute mark now without any further highlights. I'm going to use a Get Creative shout. Everyone seems inspired, which is great, and Leipzig seem uninterested after their feedback. If we can snag a goal before half-time, it's going to set up a very interesting second half. But it's not to be done. No highlights in the first half. 4 shots, 3 on target, 44% possession for us. 1 shot, but none on target, and 56% of the ball for Leipzig. Passionately, I'm going to say we've been the better team here. Okay, that hasn't quite worked. We might assertively tell the defence, you weren't that bad, but you can still improve. Okay, that's a little bit more like it. And as always, we'll give it 15 minutes before we look at subs. We're going to throw in here. Aaron Gears works it with Bailey. Now, Fiat Arp completes the triangle. Palacios loses out to Forsberg, who plays it forward to Schick. And this is where the danger comes on the counter-attack. Schick looks for Angelino on the left wing. Someone's got to get out to him. Bailey closes down. Tar with a great header away. Now Palacios, back to Tar again. All the way to Radicki. Reverse pass to Zagadou. Radicki, I should have mentioned before when we did the lineups, had a bit of a cold during the week. I think he's fine, but his condition might suffer eventually. Paulinho goes on a long run, but the drive from the edge of the area was poor and never looked like challenging the goal. All right, we're through the hour mark now, so we're going to hit pause. And we're going to make these subs. Based on rating, Fiat Arp struggling. Xerxes will come on as the advance forward. Maybe it's just that role isn't quite suiting us at the moment. Maybe we need to mix it up and do something different. Kai Havertz also struggling. I'm going to bring on Karim Demirbay, who hasn't played all that much and is one of the players that has been upset at me throughout the course of the year. But we'll just tell them we've got faith in them, and this is a massive opportunity for him to maybe stake a claim as a starting player in the second half of the season. Deep free kick here for Leipzig, played forward to Dani Olmo, who is the deepest of their 3 midfielders. Not a particularly defensive player, so they might not have like a proper ball winner in that central midfield area. Bailey gets tackled, but he's going to get there first because the midfielder kind of gave up on it a little bit. Hangs the ball towards back stick. It's headed away. Angus puts it back in towards Paulinho. Now Palacios finds Bailey, gets it back on his left foot, and the drive wasn't too far away. Keeper had no idea about it as it just whizzed past the near post. All right, 10 minutes remaining, and we haven't scored in this episode, which isn't great. Going to go by match rating again. Kevin Volland now not having the best game. I don't have another striker on the bench. What changes can I make here? Paulinho been a little bit quiet. We might take him off. Bring on Moussa Diaby, who again is another player that wants to leave to play more often or more frequent football. Assertively, we'll tell them we've got faith. And then we're also going to use our demand more shout here with 10 minutes remaining. Throw in very late on, finds Diaby, loses out, but Bailey's going to pick it back up. Palacios, good reverse pass to Diaby. Now Xerxes from the wide angle, I think he's offside. It looked like the linesman did not move from the minute the ball was hit. And they've chalked it back for the offside, but at least he has found the back of the net, albeit through a ruled out goal. All right, 4 minutes of additional time. Can I throw a get creative shout in before we finish up? We're through the majority of that time now. Draw doesn't really suit either side, and it has been called a 0-0 draw. 11 shots, 6 on target, 45% possession in the end. Leipzig had 4 shots, none on target, interestingly enough, and 55% of the ball. I'm going to say far from pleased with what I just saw from this team to go into 2 of probably our biggest fixtures of the season so far and come out with just the 1 point isn't ideal. It does see us drop down into 3rd spot, 3 points behind Leipzig, but it is still very tight, just behind Cologne as well, also on 40 points, but their goal difference I don't think we're going to catch at any point. Dortmund now only 2 points behind us, Hoffenheim 5 points further back, and Bayern 6 points behind that before a bit of a gap to Schalke. Leipzig hold out for draw. Danny Olmo got the man of the match award. Xerxes still cannot score, which is quite frustrating. And Schmidt has been sacked by Augsburg. And apparently, I'm 100-1 favourite for the sack race, even though we are currently 3 points off top spot, which is just, I can't explain it. I cannot explain it. Now, looking forward, we are getting towards the end of the week, and I'm thinking what we might do is jump forward probably about 10 games, bring you to the last 2 games of the season against Hoffenheim and Freiburg. Hopefully, we're still in and around the title picture by the time we get to those matches. But as we know, when you reload, anything can happen. We've got DFB Pokal, German Cup games that are going to happen off screen as well. I'm not worried too much about that competition. I really want to focus on finishing as high in the league as possible, particularly with Bayern Munich having a bit of an off year. But it is a significant jump forward. We're probably going to play 10 games off screen and then come back and finish off the season. So make sure you check in tomorrow's episode to see how we've gone and the conclusion of our one season wonder save. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the part that I appreciate the most. If you wanted to go that extra mile, support the channel that little bit more, you can drop a like on this video. It just pleases that YouTube algorithm. When people search for Football Manager content on YouTube, it gets us a little bit higher in results. Or you can subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all our future videos as they continue to release throughout the course of the year. More than anything though, I appreciate you watching. That's the part that means the most to me. I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.